this is where we get the very fun jump out the window.
Yes.
And turn into a mannequin and smash into the ground.
The best.
I literally cracked up. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Look, we've all been there. We've all been there.
We've all been there.
But weirdly,
You've been there?
We've all fallen out of windows, right?
You've seen people fall out of windows, turn to mannequins, and then smash in the ground?
No, we've all stolen body parts to eat and fuck and jumped out a window. I mean, that's just that's undergrad for you, baby.
That's undergrad for you, baby. There were things we did in college.
Oh, goody, goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Coddington, my fellow co-host and filmmaker, John Wooscroft.
Now that's enough out of you two. Now get to burying your friend and make it quick.
Wow.
Oh, you led with that one. I mean, that wasn't my favorite line, but it was up there. It was in the top 5. So welcome. We're on episode 256. This is gonna be a fun episode. I'm just telling you right now. I can already tell. And we have a special guest. We don't always have special guests, but we have a very special guest who has volunteered to be a guest reviewer of a movie of his choosing. It's a new thing we're trying out here, right, John?
Yeah.
Try new things. And we're joined by Cam Alfred Schwartz, also known as Cannibal Cam, who is your one half of Rabid Dog Films, correct?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. And he's joined us all the way from Canada.
Oh,
Canada,
boy.
Canada.
Freaking A.
Hey, when you get milk, does it come in a bag?
Yeah, it does. It's so strange, right? People are so foreign to that. It's just like, it's what we grew up with. I'm 48 now, so it's just like, that's just common knowledge. And then everyone asks, like, man, why does your milk come in bags? I'm like, what are you talking about? Doesn't it everywhere?
No, it doesn't.
It's either jugs or cartons, right?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like when I don't know about you, but like when I was a kid, we always thought that cereal that came in bags was inferior. Like we're just like, yeah, you don't get that. That's the cheap shit. It tastes like cardboard. And now as an adult who like has to pay for shit, I tell my kids, I'm like, we're getting the fucking bag cereal.
Getting the bags.
You guys eat this shit like it's goddamn water. I can't afford, the $6 for what they're calling, quote unquote, the family size Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
I know.
I have
you get
my
more in the
suspicions
bag
they
too,
shrunk
right?
it. You do.
You do, absolutely.
And you know what? It's not half bad.
It's not at all.
If anything, they add more sugar because they have to actually be somewhat different than the name brand. Like,
yes,
it's a trademark thing. So here's the thing, kids, if you're listening to this podcast, which I question your parents if you are, but if you are, go for the bag cereal. It's much more sugary,
Yes.
to get the diabetes up. And why am I talking about food on a movie podcast? Well, that's because, and this is again another transition, we're going to be talking about cannibals and zombies today. Yummy.
See, I was going to say, kids, if you are listening to this podcast, you will die alone.
Oh, yeah.
You went real dark there.
I like it. Let's do it.
But yeah, so Cam had posted on Facebook probably a couple weeks ago that he had a new movie coming out called Wolf Juice, and we're going to talk about Wolf Juice later in the episode. But he asked if there was anyone who was like, could promote and would want to talk about this movie. And I'm like, that's kind of what we do. So, I wanted to bring him on, and I had this idea. I'm like, what? You know what? I'm looking at what you make, and I'm looking at the type of movies. And I'm like, you probably have a really good idea for a film that we could review. So I brought him on, And he gave me this one that I had never heard of before. And if you look it up, it's called Dr. Butcher, MD. But that's apparently the American title, because the other title that it goes by that's actually much more known by is Zombie with an I, Holocaust.
Yes, indeed. Yeah,
See,
the European version, the uncut European versions.
Yeah.
See, they had to put zombie with an I because it doesn't contain any real zombie, like when Wings with a Z,
Yeah.
Oh,
Wings with a C. Yeah. So I never heard about this movie, and I'm like, where the fuck am I going to watch this at? Because oftentimes with movies from this age, and we're talking about 1980, and especially Italian horror, it's kind of difficult to find it. Like some place like Shudder I've seen will have they've really upped their giallo game in recent years. But like more often than not, trying to find these splatterfest exploitation films is kind of tough. So I was able to find it. And John, I think you watched it on YouTube, right? Yeah. So these are becoming more prevalent. But I guess my first question for you, Cam, is when did you discover Zombie / Dr. Butcher, MD?
And Cannibals and Zombies and The Last Zombies, Queen of the Cannibals and Zombies. There's a lot of titles.
Yes,
sorry.
there are.
right. So I guess the whole underground, like the Euro scene and all that stuff too. There's this band Impetigo from back in the day, a death metal band from Illinois, and they would have like Mortician, like samples before their songs, right? So they would always have like Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue and Cannibal Holocaust and Cannibal Ferox and all these other movies, right? So it was like, okay, I need to start searching this crazy underground shit that these guys are talking about. So that led me to my one friend who was a crazy underground horror freak back in the 80s and stuff. And he lent me this book. There was this one editor for Gore Zone magazine, which was like the sister magazine to Fangoria back in the day.
Yep.
And in that magazine, there was an editor that went by the name of Chaz Balloon. And he always talked about the weird underground shit, the gore fests, the shitty, bad shot on video movies and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, I gotta, I did some more research on this stuff. And then he ended up having a book, Chaz Balloon's Book of Deep Red. And in there, he started going on about just like the Italian scenes and all this stuff. So one of the movies he kept talking about was Dr. Butcher. I'm like, what the frick is this? Like, it contains cannibals, it's zombies. You love the Euro sleeves. It's total 42nd Street Grindhouse. Like, it's right up your alley. And obviously, I love all those other movies. So I'm like, okay, let's figure this out. So then it dawned on me, obviously growing up in the 80s and stuff like that, seeing the VHS covers, I always remember seeing that Dr. Butcher. But I don't think I ever searched it out because it's just, there's just so many freaking movies to look at back in the day. So obviously it caught my interest and I was like, okay, I got to search this movie out again. So going back to the flea markets and the pawn shops and stuff, especially in the early 90s, VHS wasn't cool, right? So it was on the out. DVDs were coming in and everybody was just throwing everything away. So that was my green light to go start looking at all the stuff that I missed, that I forgot about. I want to rewatch, and it was all there, $1, $2, $3. So there it was, Dr. Butcher. It was at a pawn shop. I think it was 50 cents. I'm like, holy crap. All right, let's do it. Put it in. And I fell in love, and that was the dawn of a new age.
Yeah, I mean, watching this movie, and I'll be the first to say I am not the biggest fan of Italian horror. I just never got into it.
It's acquired.
It is acquired, but I'd seen Zombie 2. The
one of my faves.
The rip off from George Romero, but still still a good movie.
Hey, he grew tired of waiting for George to make a sequel.
He really did.
He made his own.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I watched this one and I'm just like, I don't know what it is about it, but I'm keep glued to it. And that's a rarity. Like nowadays, everyone's got their cell phone, and more often than not, when you're watching a movie, every once in a while you get pulled to the cell phone because, there's maybe like a lull in the film or some part you're just like, it's kind of boring. And with Dr. Butcher / Zombie Holocaust, I was not at all in a lull. Every moment of it, I was just like, is this movie for fucking real?
Yep.
But John, what were kind of your first initial thoughts in this movie before we kind of deep dive into this sucker?
Well, I find it fascinating how much the Italians sure seem to love those zombies. They seem to really be into that genre. Yeah. But no, one thing I did notice that this movie looked like, if I had to guess and I hadn't known when it was made, I would have said it was probably in like 1968. It looks really like old fashioned. I don't know if that's just the way it is over there with the Italians. I'm not sure, but no, I thought surprisingly, other than for a few examples, like the line I did at the top of the show, I thought the dialogue was actually surprisingly on point. It wasn't ridiculous.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They're literally in the first few minutes. You've got the one head of what the hell the school that what's her face works at, who says there's a psychopathic deviant on the loose, and then of course Laurie says, well, should we call the police? And his response is, nope, we can't do that. It'd give the hospital a bad rap. That's the level.
He's got a point there, though.
No, but it's the same guy who 5 seconds ago said there's a psychopathic deviant on the loose.
Yep.
Well, there's
taking
a
out
student
organs,
either eating or fucking or both in one particular order. Like
Oh,
organs.
I mean it's fuck eat, and that's how it works. It's you're fucking the corpse and then you're eating it. That's how it works. But yeah,
so
like
I'm with them on that, man. You don't want the cops coming around. Yeah, you'll handle this internally.
Internally with who?
Well, they catch the one guy before he throws himself out of a 3-story window.
Oh, you mean before he turns into a mannequin as he falls to the ground?
Hey,
and then his arm falls off when he lands.
Yes.
Yep.
Brian, movies ain't cheap, okay?
Oh, I know movies ain't cheap, man, but I'm just saying. The guy literally is like, well, I don't want to get caught, so fuck it. I'm jumping out the window and turn into a mannequin, and boom, dead. Oh, I tried to be all like, respectable filmmaker, film criticism. Fuck that. We're just going right into the damn thing.
Absolutely, that's the point.
So yeah, it opens up with basically close-up shots, and I gotta say, I love the Italians in that they love the close-up more than anything.
Yep.
They will jump into that fucking close-up, and they don't pull away from anything. They show you the whole thing. So like we're getting this close-ups of organs being ripped off. Like I think he's ripping off a hand, cutting off a hand, and of course it's it's the 80s, so it's the most practical fake ass shit hand. And then we get introduced to, as I mentioned, the scientist or teacher in a hospital who's like training a bunch of baby doctors who are going to become doctors, and he doesn't bat an eye to the fact that the arm's gone.
He doesn't notice it yet.
No, but he notices it, and then he's like, huh.
Hey, he's trying to play it all super cool. He doesn't want to like. You don't let him see his sweat, Brian.
That's right. You don't want to spook people. But what I find hilarious is like someone in that class like snickers and said, "I thought he was going to give you a hand," and that makes him decide that fuck it, class is canceled.
Can't have that.
No, there is no humor allowed in the morgue ever.
Nope. Especially when they're doing serious autopsies like that. That's
right, with handless corpses.
It's a school prank. Come on.
I know it's a school prank. Well, oh yeah, You know what that was another line. That was another fucking line. So this is going to be all over the place, but with the teacher in the morgue, his assistant is Laurie Ridgway, who is our heroine. Also, Laurie is also a anthropologist.
Yeah,
because you can be both, and apparently that's how school was cheap back then. You can just be like, "Oh, I'm an anthropologist and a physician." Okay.
Yeah. Don't you do it all?
You do it all.
Those are two. Those are both my minors. Yeah.
Those are her majors. Those are her majors. Plus, also being the most fashionable doctor in New York. But I'm gonna get to that in a minute. So yeah, she's the one who brings up about we should call the police, and Dr. Fucko says, "No, I'm sorry, we're not doing that." And sure enough, she has another conversation with her anthropologist teacher, who remarks that, yes, it's no big deal. We used to do frat pranks all the time, ripping arms off of people. No big deal. And it just shrugs it off.
No, well, he says you should have seen some of the things I did back in my day, inferring that like removing limbs of corpses is just child's play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't you know that? It's it's the new prank. You just remove some body parts and splay them across the place, and
especially back in the day,
and maybe eat and fuck a corpse. It's just a prank.
That's Jeff.
Yeah. So this then leads, and this is all, by the way, in New York. And here's the funny thing about the trailer.
And this is the first 5 minutes of the movie, 10 minutes.
Well, here's the thing. This actually is in New York.
Okay.
That setting is actually in New York. Now, I can't speak to like the interiors, but clearly the exteriors are in New York. But over the course of the movie, obviously they can't afford to shoot the whole thing in New York. So they have to go to a quote unquote tropical island, also known as Rome. Because that's what you do. But before we even get to that, there's weird things afoot, like this whole the first half of the movie honestly feels like a mystery. Like, well, who's stealing the body parts, and why are they stealing the body parts? And this then leads to us seeing Laurie's apartment, which again I go back to, how is this woman affording all of these antiquities, a literal shrine, on a like med assistant salary?
Things were different back then, Bri. Like college only cost $1.
Yeah. And
it only costs $1.
And everybody was still, it wasn't a collector's market back then, so stuff was still cheap.
Oh, well, there you go. That makes
right?
sense.
It's like,
especially from keto. Nobody knew what that stuff was from keto.
No one knew. They didn't know what keto was. Now we know it as a diet fad, but back then it was just
it was an island.
Island in the Malacca territories. Okay.
It's like, how much does this apartment cost? It's going to be $25 a month. Oh, that's outrageous.
Yep.
Yeah. It also could be that it was clearly the Italian producer's apartment.
Yeah.
Just going to throw that one out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we get, and honestly, this is something that I think all of these movies are pretty much known for, the leering gaze of the camera on Laurie at all times.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we get like the first, like, haha, we're not going to give you the full nudity. You thought you were getting it, but you're not. With the camera just locked on her in her bedroom as she's changing, and she moves out of the camera.
Beautifully green bedroom. Oh my God! It's
yeah, I know, and everything matches.
I
It's
love
the
it.
same
matched
pattern.
The table, yeah. The wallpaper matched the chair.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Gorgeous.
It is.
Yeah, and this gets her. She's literally throwing shoes out in frames. Like, she's getting naked. Are we going to show you? No. You gotta wait.
Not yet.
Not yet. No.
See, that's cruel, because back then there was no access to porn. Like, you had to hope that one of your family friends like had a projector and some stag films on it. So
I had some.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like the only chance you're gonna get to see titties, and they just tease you and lie to you. It's terrible.
They give you some blue balls.
Yeah.
Right then.
Well, that was the point back then, right? I mean, whatever you can get away with with movie releases.
Yep.
That wasn't literal XXX. Then that was your jerk off material.
Although later in the movie, they pretty much throw that out the window.
Yeah, absolutely. There it is. There it is.
They literally throw that out the window. Like, I'm just like, I don't want to jump the gun on that part. But after this, we get a very weird conversation, and I still have no idea why this is even in the movie. Like, as someone who makes films and edits professionally, I don't know why this is in here. But our second heroine, who's just annoying, Susan, barges in on her.
Yeah,
Lori, we're talking about, and like keeps going on. I'm going to find the big scoop on why body parts are being stolen out of the hospital. Like, I don't know how they're related and how they know each other,
or how she got any of this information.
Yeah, any of you guys find that weird?
And you're supposed to know why there's a connection.
Yeah, and but the only thing I can think of is this moment was designed to remark on the ceremonial human sacrifice knife from Quito.
Yep.
By the way, they're like the art for their colony, beautiful, just like just two sides of butt cheeks, and they went, that's good. We're done making this. Yeah.
That's it. That's all they can carve in stone, right? So that's
yeah.
I mean, you find out later why that symbol's there, right? Like, we find out later that it's not meant for butt cheeks. It's meant for something else.
Yep. Absolutely.
I do gotta say one thing, because this is the first time we get the weird sound effect that comes in every single time the camera locks on the symbol of Quito.
Oh yeah.
The
Uh-huh.
every single time.
Brian, it's them Italians. They love that.
They love sound effects.
It's the zoom. It's all about the zoom.
The zoom in.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I fucking love this movie.
Because it's so just out there.
It's so out there. It's so bizarre. So, Cam, what happens after we get this bizarro conversation between Lori and Susan?
Oh, it happens. Now it's time to, oh man, it's actually been a few months since I've watched this. You guys just watched it last night. You're doing good, man. I'm just going to follow your lead. Yeah,
okay.
You're doing awesome.
All right.
Because it's fresh in your mind right now. Once you start talking, then it all kicks in.
Okay. Fair enough. So after this, we get another scene where more body parts taken out. And we get a couple of these, and they're not really like consequential at all. But what happens is we find out who has been stealing the body parts. And unfortunately, it's not Dr. Butcher, because like with most of these movies, the trailers are very misleading. But what we find out is that the one like nurse or like med assistant who kind of is just in the hospital, he's the one who's been stealing the body parts and eating them and probably fucking them.
Right.
Yeah. And this is where we get the very fun jump out the window.
Yes.
And turn into a mannequin and smash it to the ground.
The best.
I literally cracked up. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Look, we've all been there. We've all been there.
We've all been there.
But weirdly,
you've been there.
We've all fallen out of windows, right?
You've seen people fall out of windows, turn to mannequins, and then smash to the ground.
No, we've all stolen body parts to eat and fuck and jumped out a window. I mean, that's just. That's undergrad for you, baby.
That's undergrad for you, baby. There were things we did in college.
But interestingly, though, This does lead to like them finding that they, piecing all the like Indiana Jones style, putting all the pieces together to realize they have to go to this island. And this is kind of the opposite of Jason Takes Manhattan, where only like 10 minutes of that movie actually takes place in Manhattan. Like only the first 20 minutes of this movie is in New York, and then we go straight to the island. It's like, oh, okay, they didn't waste any time. That's good.
No, well, that's because they ran out of money.
Yep.
Yeah, but this is where we also get introduced to our hero.
Yes.
I just call him also a dick because he's kind of a dick half the time. Of Dr. Peter Chandler, played by Ian McCulloch.
Yeah.
And Ian McCulloch is kind of a mainstay in a lot of these Italian horror movies. I think he was in Zombie?
Zombie 2. Yep.
Zombie. He was in Zombie 2, yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, he ends up in a lot of these sorts of movies. Yeah.
Which he said many times he regrets.
I mean, why?
I don't know. They're cult classics.
They're cult classics. But he's kind like, I don't know really why he's there, but he just shows up and he's kind of our Sherlock Holmes doctor who has a thing for Laurie. Let's just be honest here. He totally has a thing for Laurie. And I also find it hilarious that later in the movie, when they're on the island of Quito, they're literally wearing matching outfits. Did you both notice that?
I did not.
They're all in their jungle attire.
Yeah.
But only Laurie and Peter are in jungle attire. like the other two, they're not in jungle attire. They're also wearing similar outfits of t-shirt and jeans. And I just found it hilarious. I'm like, okay, you're matching them up, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, the costume people probably had a few of the same outfits, and they went, okay, well, we're just going to have people wear the same outfit.
I mean, Chandler's literally wearing his Lawrence of Arabia outfit. Okay, like that's literally what he's wearing. He's got the leather boots that go up to the knee. He's wearing his jungle puffy pants, and he's got an ascot because, of course, you have to have an ascot.
Every time.
When you're in the jungle, you have to scream white man as much as possible. Wearing that just screams it. But yeah, so they decide somehow that they're going to go to the island of Quito, and I don't know why. They just want to find out, because apparently the orderly who turned into a mannequin, jumped out the window and died, he apparently was from that island.
Yes, he had the tattoo on his wrist.
Yeah, and then we got the sound effect of da-da when that showed up. So, they got to go to that island. I still don't know why. I think they just were like, well, let's go to that island. And apparently Laurie is from the Molucca Islands.
She knows all about it.
I'm like, of course you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we got kind of like fish out of water audience kind of tale, so there has to be somebody to guide us along. So yeah, she's just from there.
She's from there.
She summers there.
I grew up there, and no, I don't want to go back because I don't know, it would sully my vision of it when I was a kid. It's like, fuck you. She's wearing literally every scene that she's in. She's got Armani level attire, again for a med student who's also an anthropologist, and
Brian,
she's conveniently from the island they have to go to.
Brian, college cost like $50 a semester back then. I can't.
She's wearing puffy hats. Okay,
she has a lot of disposable income when college is only like $37.
Right.
I guess so. I guess so. So yeah, Peter, Laurie, annoying Susan, who's going to get the big scoop.
The big photographer, news reporter.
The big photographer, news reporter. She shouldn't have any pen and paper at all, by the way. She just has a camera.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to get a story when you don't have the things needed to get the story. And it's not like it's nowadays where you can just use your phone. So yeah, ace reporter Susan. And
she has to go. Yeah. Susan's
boyfriend, also known as guy who's gonna die number 1, George. Because let's be honest here, Peter and Laurie are not dying in this movie. They've got way too much screen time.
Yeah. Especially, and then Ian's like the star of the movie.
Ian's the star of the movie.
The star.
Laurie is the star for adolescent boys who are watching this movie. Susan's annoying and George is also annoying. So yeah, they're both, those two are dying.
See, back then he was just like that stoic lead. Now we look at him like this guy's a fucking dick.
Well, they are dick. He is a dick. He's a dick in this movie. So anyway, they meet up with another doctor, Dr. Obrero.
Yeah.
Who were like, he seems like a nice guy. He couldn't possibly be the bad guy.
Yeah, he's offering lemonade. Come on.
He's offering lemonade. What bad guy offers lemonade? And what doctor? He's so altruistic. He's gone to the island to heal people. He's literally introduces, oh yeah, Dr. Obrero. The natives treat him well because he heals the sick, doesn't ask for any money. Yeah, it's too good to be true, fuckers.
Would you guys like some ice cubes in your lemonade? Why, sure. Hey, wait, these are chunks of human flesh.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that at all.
Let's direct your attention to more some iced tea now.
Yeah. Just drink up. Oh, by the way, don't go to the island of Quito at all. Don't go there. The Quitoians will eat you. Literally says that.
I thought they were the Quitoites.
Quitoites, whatever. Whatever. But yeah, he says, don't go there. They're cannibals. They'll fucking eat you. And so, Peter, being the asshole that he is, says, fuck you. I'm going.
Yeah. All the more reason.
And Brewer's like, all right, fine. Take my manservant mulatto.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not racist at all.
No.
Brian, this entire movie is is a little problematic.
This whole movie is very problematic, but I'm just like, the name of the characters, mulatto, really? Really? Fucking hell, man. So yeah, it's that kind of movie, folks. So they go on the boat and everyone's having a good time, and for some reason, Mulatto is like, well, we're gonna have to go to another island. Turns out the island they go to is Quito.
Oh no.
Peter doesn't know that.
And the thing is, this is kind of like portrayed like, oh, you dastardly villain, how could you have done this? Like, but it's like, no, you guys have literally no reason to go to this island, and he was just trying to save your asses.
Yes,
because you have no right or understanding of what you're about to get into.
Right.
That's correct. Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, because they're like, why don't we just turn off the engine of the boat? We'll just chill on the boat for a while. He's like, nah, let's go to that other island over there.
Let's go to that other island.
And Mulatto's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while on this island, Peter being in his best jungle gear, Laurie also in jungle gear, they clearly are taking command of what to do on the island. And this is where we basically start to see people get picked off. And that's the one thing that I do think is very fun with this movie, is that they find inventive ways to pick off just about everyone. There's like 3 assistants that are working with Mulatto on the boat, and each one of them gets picked off one by one.
Yeah.
Right? First one, you just hear him scream, ah! In the distance. Ah!
Well, I love too. It's like,
he's dead.
Yeah. Well, it's dark, so we can't go look for him.
Yes.
Nope.
Well, if he's not back by the morning, maybe we'll go check it out.
Yes.
After bagels.
Yes, after bagels. You have to do it after bagels. Peter has to have his morning tea and bagels. And yeah, but I found that it's like, that's the most, again, he's a dick, because he quietly was like, well, we heard that scream. One of our people's missing. We told him not to go out there. Fuck him. We'll check in the morning.
Yep.
Guess it doesn't pay to be in that group.
He didn't have a doctorate, okay? Like, so he wasn't important.
Yeah.
Not a PhD.
It's not like they don't have guns. Oh wait, they have guns.
Yeah.
They
No.
forgot to pack flashlights. You know what I mean? So
Well, yes. And there's no fire or torches or anything like that.
Oh, there was a big campfire going on. Oh,
there was a
yeah.
big campfire going, and
Yeah.
it
Forgot about
requires
that.
a lot of effort to go
Way
search
too
for
much.
a person in your party who screams in the woods. Hey, whatever.
Whatever.
The next morning, they do some searching for about 5 minutes and say, well, he's gone. And then they, of course, find his like ripped apart body.
Yep.
And this is where we get our first introduction to the cannibals in this. John, you want to talk about the cannibals?
So you just mean like half naked, hopefully of age boys that jump out of trees and stuff? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. But yeah,
Cannibals.
yeah. And
Speaking in tongue at all times.
And of course, this movie is a beautiful like love letter to Western culture and the gun, because they're like their only plan of attack is to jump out of a tree and kind of knock you over for a minute, and then there's the running off with people. Like our white heroes just shoot them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they had more time, they just would have shot them all and been like, well, that was somewhat of a nuisance.
Yeah.
But thank God we Westerners have guns.
Yeah. Oh,
You are not like us. You will die.
I also do want to mention this is our first instance of seeing Laurie naked in this part.
About time.
It was just before that. It was just before that part, because that was when just before they got in the boat. So she was in there changing after they met the doctor. And then she did some changing and stuff, and then comes back, goes to bed, lifts the sheet up. There's the head with the keto symbol.
Yes.
We have to go to keto and find it now.
Yes. And what I find hilarious about that nudity scene is like she gets naked, puts on a shirt, has no underwear on. And the shirt is clearly way too short for like her body.
Perfect.
So like everything's showing clearly.
Yeah.
She screams immediately. 4 guys come into the room.
Well, they know how she dresses.
Yeah.
But I'm
not
just
one
like,
of them has a boner.
Yeah, nobody does.
Nobody.
Bullshit. But I'm just like,
They're Italians, guys. They see this stuff all the
They
time.
see it all the time. Exactly.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Like, let's go home for a 3-hour lunch. Well, wait, why am I
That's
French?
French.
I'm French.
Yeah.
But we'll have some wine and we'll just look at each other naked. It's just that's what they do.
but I just found it hilarious. I'm like, the woman has no underwear on. She screams. Guys come in, runs into Peter's arms because of course. And I'm like, she's still like all exposed down there. So yeah, we're on back on the island.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're seeing people get picked off one by one. Do you want to go over some notable deaths in this one? Because I don't want to go over each and every one of them, but some notable deaths in this one.
Well, they find their friend the next morning, and then
he's ripped apart.
And then Ian just tells Mulatto to hurry up and bury him. Tell your guys to bury him.
Yes. I mean, it's beautiful. Yeah, bury your friend and make it quick.
Yeah, hurry.
Well,
A shallow grave is fine.
You're forgetting that they're just like, oh, we got to be respectful. And then a second later says, bury your friend, make it quick, fucker.
Yeah.
Yeah. The horrible hypocrisy of VM being like, quit taking photos, you dumb bitch. Have some dignity. Have some respect. Oh, hey, get to burying him, foreigners.
Yeah.
Faster now. Yeah, it's a mess. So they kind of get picked off one by one, and then what ends up happening is Peter and Laurie, they meet up with Abrero again, right?
Yeah.
And because somehow they find out that they're actually on the island of Quito. Surprise, surprise.
Oh, you're jumping far ahead.
Am I jumping far ahead?
Oh, so they're just
What am I
meeting the
missing?
cannibals now, right after they buried their friend.
Yeah.
So they're walking out, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's the cannibals. What do we do?
Well, they're
And
just
then-
like standing there looking at him like
Just staring.
deer.
no big deal, right? They got their bamboo spears and all that stuff too, right?
Yeah.
So then they jump out at him, and then obviously one of the, I don't know, what would you call, like, his Mulatto's little lackeys runs off, and then he gets the first big kill.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot to this one. Yeah,
you
got to run punchy sticks.
Oh no, our guns are going to be no match for their coconuts. Run!
Yep.
Well, no,
Absolutely.
doesn't he get like the punchy stick trap just slashed on him?
Right up behind him. He tripwires it. It comes up, stabs them all in the back, and then they come up and then slice his neck, and then slice his stomach open, and then start pulling his guts out, and then that's the cannibals. Boom, boom, boom.
And they're then transition to eating chicken nuggets because it looks like they're eating chicken nuggets.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, dipped in barbecue sauce.
Well, a lot of the times back then too, they did use real guts, right? So,
I could tell that right off the bat that the guts in this were 100% real. Yeah, there's no way that those are prosthetic guts. Those were probably butcher.
Yeah, it's cheaper just to go to the butcher.
Yeah. Smellier, but I mean, works.
Absolutely.
It's cheaper to go to the butcher. That's
totally
the quote
is.
of the episode.
Yeah. So that one gets killed, and then what I find hilarious about this is that Peter and Lori and Susan and George are like, don't shoot them. We have to watch them first. Like, they just killed your friend, right? Like, they're gonna kill you.
They still have respect for Keto, though, right?
But it's like, you've got guns. You know that they're cannibals. You know that they ate your friend. But it's like, don't raise your weapon. They're just staring at you. They got punji sticks and spears and shit. But don't shoot them yet.
Hey, they're intellectuals, Brian. They didn't get these PhDs by acting.
They just got their PhDs by paying $35.
Well, a PhD costs a little bit more. That's like $42.75.
$42.75. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
which is outrageous. Because gas is $1 now.
About the same amount as a jungle outfit, right? It's about the same amount as a jungle outfit.
Because you have one ready as soon as you're ready to take the trip to the tropics, right?
You always got to have one ready.
Everybody.
So we get a big kill, like I said, a combo kill is what I would call this one.
Yep.
Where George gets cut apart and eaten.
Not yet.
Not yet? Am I missing one?
Yeah. So they go back and they go back to their little campsite, and it's night again. And then, they're talking, blah, blah, blah. And then one of the cannibals jumps out from in their tent while they're sleeping with the two girls.
Oh.
And then she comes up with the machete and whacks them, wham, right in the middle of the head, right?
Yeah.
So there was one of the cannibals that was curious, right? Probably didn't want to kill them because that's not what they always do. But
we don't know that yet, though.
No. So she gets up with the machete and just whack right in the head.
Yep.
And
they
there's
go
that.
back to that campsite a lot. I imagine they just shot that all in one night, and they're like,
"Yep,
okay, let's just do like 20 of the night camp shots here, and the script will just always have them return to this camp so that we can, shoot this all in one go."
Yeah.
And then when Mulatto's other guy, he gets killed with the spear. A giant bamboo spear was thrown at him, so he just got it in the stomach. So there goes him.
Yeah, as I said, when they're on the island, it really is just like a successive amount of kills,
just constant.
And that's, I'm just going like the director of this, Marino Girolami. Hopefully, I didn't butcher that. He probably was just like, all right, we know we got some New York footage, we got some shit in front with the a cabin with the crazy doctor. How are we gonna fill this thing? Well, let's just have a bunch of kills in the jungle.
Yep.
Which is fine.
Got to establish the cannibals and show everybody that they are actual cannibals.
They are actual cannibals eating quote unquote human parts.
So are they zombies or cannibals? Or is
that's not yet.
Not yet.
Hey,
so that's an important thing.
Spoiler alert.
That's an important thing. So the whole time that we're seeing these cannibals, we get a glimpse of the zombies, And that's the only thing that makes the cannibals go away.
Yes, because they're scared of them.
They're scared of the zombies. Now, the zombies we're talking about here, they're not Romero zombies.
No.
You know, that would be the caviar of zombies, right?
Right.
And they're kind of cheap, like crap masks slapped on the face, all seams shown, just like maybe 5 minutes worth of clay put on the face.
And that was and that's after they kill, was it George? That's his name?
I think, yeah, they killed George.
Yes. So the cannibals come, they take away the photographer.
Yeah, they take her away with some like red ribbon thing.
Yeah, because I mean they just fashioned that out of bamboo, right?
Yeah, of course, because they have. Didn't you know that the Quitos have like a cotton gin and can make textiles?
Yes.
Eli Whitney made a special trip down there, helped them out. He went, "You guys don't have a cotton gin?"
I mean, this movie's already racist as fuck. Might as well throw that in there too, right?
Absolutely. So now George gets his savage killing. So he gets his stomach wide open. They pull everything out, thumb his eyes, pull his eyes out, slice his neck, just slaughter him.
This is what he got for telling them to be quick about, burying the friend.
Absolutely.
Or as the Italians call that, they call that the eggplant parm. All these thick red and purple juicy parts,
Yeah, the thumbs in the eyes. That one was a
It's
fun
juicy.
one. That was a fun one. I mean, you got to have that. Every Italian film has that. I mean, like Zombie 2 has what I would call the best one.
Oh my God, yeah.
The wooden shard in the eyeball.
It's unbelievable.
Oh,
it's unbelievable. It's one of my favorite movies,
time.
Of all time.
Yeah. Whole time you're like, they're not going to show it. They're not going to show it.
Yeah, they're going to cut away. No, they fucking are showing it.
Yep.
They don't care. Don't care. So George and Susan, George dead, Susan abducted. And okay, is this where Abrero shows back up again?
So the zombies come out.
Yeah.
And then they scare the rest of them away because the rest of them were pretty much going to get killed right then.
Yeah, yeah.
So the zombies show up, scare them away. And and then Abrero is like all of a sudden like, "Hey, come over here."
Well, he tries to get them out, right? He tries to get them off the island. He says, "Oh, take the dinghy." And this is where Peter miraculously realizes that Abrero's lying. Don't know how he knows that, but he apparently does. And so they go and confront Abrero. Lori gets stolen by the Quitos.
Yep.
Reasons.
They scoot off. They find the church and Abrero, and take the dinghy, get out of here. Yeah, and then Ian puts it all together like, "Hey, like you said, we've been here the whole time."
I don't know how he knows that he's the bad guy. I still don't.
Yeah.
Nothing has convinced me of that. Like nothing says like, "Oh yes, this is something." Like, you know how movies, when you do have like a double cross like that, there's always one little thing, like one little detail that the bad guy didn't think about that somehow just points that he's clearly the bad guy. Like in Mission Impossible, where John Voight, talks about the Drake Hotel in Chicago, and somehow like that's the piece that puts it all together. There's none of that here. It's literally Peter sees the dinghy and is like, "We can't go on that dinghy. Abrero is fucking with us," and I don't know how we got there. Like,
it's pretty fucking obvious, Brian. The character should just been called like Joseph Goebbels, or Joseph Mangala, rather. Like,
I thought you were going to say
Dr. Evil.
I thought you were going to say bad guy McBad guy. Isn't that our common thing we go with?
Hi, I'm Admiral Bone to Pick.
I'm Admiral Bone to Pick. Yeah. So somehow they end up back at Obrero's, and Lori's stolen by the Keto tribe, and we don't see her for a while. And then we get, of course, because Dr. Obrero is really Dr. Butcher, we get his plan, and he basically tells us that, well, actually, no, before we even get that, we see that Susan has actually, she's on the slab in Obrero's, and she's had like her scalp cut off. Like she's scalped.
Yep.
And Obrero's like, I'm going to transfer your brain into the brain of this Keto tribesman. And
then I'll finally be able to have sex with him.
Yeah. And it's going to give me the meaning of life and tell me how to survive for 100 years. And I'm like, okay. It makes no sense, but all right.
Yeah, it's not going to give him the meaning of life. Yeah, it may help him transfer his consciousness into other people for a couple hundred years, but how does that give him the meaning of life? I don't know.
It's like that movie Transcendence with
Johnny Depp.
It's the same basic principle.
I feel like he would get the meaning of life out of that as much as you got the meaning of life out of Monty Python's meaning of life.
Yeah. But yeah, so what he's doing is he's creating these zombies. Like the Brero is creating the zombies. He's taking brains out of people and putting them inside of
corpses
the corpses
pieces and
and for reasons. So he's got like a zombie army.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's gonna do that to Susan. Okay.
And then God only knows what he's gonna do with Susan's leftover body.
Well, I mean, we've already established that you eat and then fuck. So
but where
use
does
your imagination
come into that, Brian?
Just use your imagination. That's the unrated version right there. But yeah, at this point, this is where Lori and Peter show up, and the plan's exposed, and tribesmen steal Lori. Lori's gone for about, most of the movie after this. I'm going to get to where she is in a moment. And Peter's been strapped down because Mulatto was working with Obrero the whole time.
Hey, I was told he was trustworthy. In like the most dog whistly racist way too, like you can trust him. He's one of mine. He's been loyal to me for years. Like, It's a weird way to phrase that.
A little bit weird.
Yeah. He's a friend of mine. He's not a coworker of mine. He's been loyal to me for years.
He's loyal.
He's one of the good ones.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, of course they're working together. And Obrero says, I'm going to take your brain. I'm going to put it in this body because, I've never been able to do this to a Caucasian male. It's like, okay.
Well, yeah, you live on this island. Of course you haven't,
Yep.
Maybe if you want Caucasian males, move to San Francisco.
Again, very racist movie. Oh, man.
Go to Portland, Oregon. All they have is Caucasian white males.
Yeah. So Peter's strapped down. He knows that he's going to get it, and he decides that he's going to take a knife, like a little scalpel, and he's going to try to cut the little straps on him, as Dr. Butcher, which I'm going to just call Bro Dr. Butcher. It's much fun name than that.
Doc B.
Doc B, MD,
Ooh.
Medical deviant.
DBMD.
DBMD. That's so bad. And while all this is going on, we see where Lori's at. And this is the part in the movie where I'm just like, what? So, John, do you want to describe this scene here?
Oh, Brian, you're on a roll. You're on a roll.
I'm on a roll. Are you sure?
You're on a roll.
Are you sure?
Please take us home.
Okay. I feel kind of like I'm bogarting the whole thing here, but I'll jump to it. So yeah, we find that Lori is living it up with the Ketoians, Ketoites, whatever the fuck you want to call
Keto
them.
Keto diets.
She's living it up with them, and she's naked and getting body painted by the tribe.
About time again.
And just like getting flowers painted on her. And she's then like, we think it's going to be like sacrifice. Okay.
She's okay with it.
She's cool with it. Whatever. And this is where we discover why the symbol for Keto is the symbol for Keto, which, as you said, Cam, looks like two butt cheeks. And it's because Lori then has to lay down on this stone table that rotates, that's in the shape of a human with their arms up and their legs like crossed. So, like, again, this whole scene is just for nudity's sake.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely
all
spread
it is.
wide open.
It is.
How dare you, Brent? I feel like I really learned a lot about life from this scene.
Oh yes,
yeah. I feel like I'm a much better man now for how I see the world. Also, because I saw
only took you 5 minutes to be a better man, right? Or was that a 2-minute quickie?
Yeah. No, 30 seconds and I was out. It's the winter, man. You know, it's cold. You can't waste time. But I'm actually amazed that it took them like this long for that level of nudity. You know, in an Italian movie, I thought it'd be like, oh, how scandalous they put on clothes.
Oh,
but
this
no.
is class. This is a classy movie.
This is classy.
This is classy shit. So Laurie's literally spread eagle on this fucking stone tablet thing, and I don't know what
we've all been there.
No, speak for yourself. What cannibal islands do you go to on the weekends, John?
That's where I summer, actually.
Yes. So yeah, she's on this little, like, not little, but it's a giant stone table, and it rotates, and somehow, like, the leader of the tribe says, "Don't kill her." We don't know why.
Do we know why anything's happening?
No,
not really.
Yeah. No. We just know she's not going to be sacrificed. She's now the queen of the tribe, queen of the cannibals. And she sends them to go after Obrero.
This is like a Princess Leia thing, you know?
Kind of.
But they're my friends.
My friends.
We're still talking about DBMD.
DBMD.
Blah, blah, blah.
Well, speaking of DBMD, Dr. Butcher, Medical Deviant, he's about to go ahead and like cut open Peter's brain to put him into another person's body again. And this is where, you know, the Ketoians kind of bum rush a place. And it's of course after Peter escapes, slices
his neck.
He slices his neck. He slices Mulatto's neck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the cannibals come, and of course they eat Mulatto and Dr. Butcher.
Yeah.
And somehow this also catches the place on fire.
Yes. Yeah, because Mulatto ended up just using one of those Coleman lanterns just to give some extra light, you know?
Yeah.
I love that the cannibals just eat him too, because he's just there, like they're house cats that get outside and find like a songbird. Like if I go into somebody's house and they have like barbecue on the counter, I don't just start eating their food because it's like, that smells nice, you know?
All right. Do you really discriminate when you're a cannibal? I don't know.
No, I mean, you don't want to let anything go to waste.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
You don't know.
You
don't know when your next human's going to come to that island. So, like,
right.
You know,
take advantage.
You gotta eat then, so you can preserve your energy till the next tour boat shows up. Right.
Exactly.
The next boat that accidentally ends up on keto. It's like, and that pretty much ends the movie. Like,
absolutely.
That we end with, you know, Lori and Peter, again, the only two survivors. Could have told you that one. Watching Dr. Butcher's chalet go up in flames. That's the movie.
Yep.
Wow.
Ta-da. Ta-da.
Ta-da and wow. I was like, I
wow.
was waiting for the reactions.
It's, you know what? It's a fun movie. I'd say this is probably an awesomely bad. I would call it that. It's an awesomely bad and a very racist movie.
You know, before George Romero, and apparently, I guess after him as well, all zombie movies were always about like, you know, slave islands and voodoo and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, this is just pretty par for the course for this type of genre or subgenre.
Absolutely.
True.
Yeah.
It's very true. It's very true.
So like, and so pretty much Dr. Butcher is a ripoff of Zombie with Cannibal Holocaust. They just mixed all of that together. Pretty much the same storyline also, because Ian McCullough, who is in Zombie, pretty much does the same thing, tracking down where the origins are for whatever is happening. So get on a boat, bunch of people, go to the island, shit happens. But this time we're not just with cannibals or not just with zombies, we're with both.
Yeah.
Because it has to be.
It has to be. So, I mean, guys, as I said, I found this movie on YouTube, so it is available to rent.
Is this was this the edited version or the unedited version?
That's unedited.
Okay.
So Zombie Holocaust is the unedited version.
Yes.
And Dr. Butcher
is the slightly edited.
It's the slightly edited.
Yeah.
So John, I'm not sure which one.
And there's a little bit of a different intro also, because the American market took it and made a little bit of a different intro also.
Yeah.
So that's really the only difference. There's not too much. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And the marketing campaign back then, they had literally drove around in a hearse around New York and with Dr. Butcher plastered all over it and just drove around and pumped this marketing campaign.
They also handed out barf bags during
absolutely.
Which I think movies have to go back to that.
Totally,
really
dude. That's what we're trying to do.
Now, speaking about that, transition here.
Ba-boom.
Tell me a bit about Rabid Dog Films.
Okay. So Rabid Dog started in technically 2003 with Phil Pattison living in Hamilton, Ontario. He's still there. He got together with a couple friends and a bunch of punk rock and metalheads, of course, and started doing some shorts and, making some gore. And our good friend Carlos Henriques, who runs the butcher shop out of Hamilton, which is an effects studio. They teamed up for their first movie, Versus the Dead, which you can see on our Rabid Dog YouTube channel, full movie. That was made in 2004, 2005, and it's a full-length zombie movie, and it starts from a bad tattoo. So that one there, they pretty much wanted to go as bloody as they could with the budgets that they had, lots of blunt force trauma, and they did a fantastic job. Heart and soul, barely any budget, yada, yada, the same old story. And from there, Phil kept, he was pumping it and everything like that. We were started to go to Fan Expo, which is the big Comic-Con in Toronto in 2005, 2006. And that's where I first met him. He was pumping Versus the Dead, trying to get it out there. So started contact with him because, I'm obviously a giant horror fan, looking to try to do some things myself. And I'm a big music guy, so maybe we could help score your movie and blah, blah, blah. Let's keep in touch. So we tried, and just never came through. Phil ended up doing the scoring himself, did an amazing job, and didn't really technically get released till 2013 through Midnight Releasing, Brain Damage Films.
Nice.
And so that was the birth of Rabid Dog. And then I joined them on him and this other guy, Chris Harrison. They started Nyctophobia Films. They did a couple short films and did a movie called Devil's Night with, oh my gosh, this is going to kill me now. The girl from Hatchet, Halloween. Oh my God, this isn't cool. Oh, what's her name? Sorry?
Is it Minx? It's not Minx Souls.
No. It's oh my God, what's her name?
Are you talking about the remake to Halloween with like Rob Zombie?
Yeah, part 2. So
Danielle,
Danielle Harris.
Danielle
Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they did a movie, and kind of like even before Hatchets and Halloween brought her back, they brought her back about a year before to be in this movie called Devil's Night, which was shot in Hamilton. So little underground thing. It was a little bit of a budget, and it didn't really get out there. But obviously, Halloween being Halloween, got out there, and everyone's like, "Oh, Halloween brought Danielle Harris back," and it was like, well, I get it because of the mainstream, and everybody, jumped on that wagon and figured it out then. But these guys were trying to get Danielle back on board with their movie, but they didn't get a release with that movie till a few years afterwards. So that was cool with that. So then after that movie, they got together to do a Night of the Living Dead live play. So there was Evil Dead the Musical was the big one that kind of steamrolled around here.
Yep.
And really blew up, did really well, did amazing. And these guys had an idea. It's like, well, let's do a stage play, but let's not do it a musical. Let's make it super funny. It's a comedy, super witty, and let's make it in black and white, just like the movie itself. So we did the whole theaters, and it was in black and grays and whites. All the gore was in grays and blacks and whites and everything like that. So yeah, that turned out really cool. And unfortunately, it didn't do as well as we wanted it to. So Nyctophobia phased out in 2012. And then I was working with Phil closely a lot, and we had the same ideas on the movies that we wanted to do. So it was like, hey, let's bring Rabid Dog back, and let's do Grindhouse, and let's do the fun horror that we both love. So boom, Rabid Dog came back, and then we just started doing little shorts here and there and music videos and yada, yada, yada. We did our Human Cattle, which was a kind of a concept that we wanted to make a full length, but it was more like an 80s TNA, cannibal, alien, ritual / all kinds of things, just the 80s mixed into one, even more than Dr. Butcher. And so we started getting that out there a little bit, and then some more music videos, some more little things, and then we did our friend Chris Alexander, who now works for Full Moon Entertainment and does Delirium Magazine. He worked for Rue Morgue Magazine, which we knew from back in the day too. So he brought us Rabid Dog on to make his movie for Full Moon, which was part of the Deadly 10 series, Necropolis Legion. So
I saw the trailer for that. It's crazy.
Yeah, it actually is. It's a pretty fun movie.
Crazy movie.
It is. Literally is.
Like, man.
It's on Tubi if you want to watch the whole thing. It's on Tubi. Yeah. So yeah, he brought us on to pretty much shoot, do the sound, do the lighting. We built the sets. We built the graveyard. We brought the crew. We did the editing. We pretty much helped make his movie, which was, it's a dream come true for us. Full Moon. Yeah. We all grew up with, Puppet Master and Reanimator and all that stuff, right? So it was just it was a dream come true for all of us. And then it just kept going, more music videos. And then all of a sudden it came to what we were going to be talking about, I guess now.
Yeah. I mean, tell me about Wolf Juice. What is the movie about? And
yes,
it's a short, right?
Yeah. 25 minutes. 26 minutes, and it originally started as, because again, I live in St. Catharines, which is only a half an hour from Hamilton, so obviously we try to hang out as much as we can. Half hour is not too bad. So Butcher Shop also too is in Hamilton, so Phil and I, we always go to Carlos's shop and hang out there, and obviously it's again kind of nerdy, but it's amazing that we can hang out in a shop that's full of body parts and monsters and movies and posters and all this stuff, right? So we always go there, and he lives in the shops in this cool old alleyway, which we have shot a ton of stuff down this alleyway. It's just perfect for everything, and we just like to go have a couple drinks and just relax and party and hang out down there. So the one night we go down there, and I was like, you know what, man, why don't we just film something? Like, I always bring my camera around just in case we need it. Why don't we just right now film something? Let's put on, I'll put something on, I see we got, some fangs, we got some hands, got a wolf suit or something. I don't know. Let's just do something stupid. So we ended up actually the one night, which was probably 4.5 years ago. We shot this little thing in the alley. I'm a drunk, walking around in the back alley with a beer bottle. I see this barrel. I accidentally knocked the barrel over. Some of the barrel contents go into my drink. I drink it. I turn into this thing, and then I howl at the moon and I go running away. So it was pretty funny. We had a couple lights and whatever. So Phil's like, all right, leave it with me, because he's the master editor.
Right.
Leave it with me. We'll figure something out. So, a couple weeks go by or whatever, and I was like, oh, hey man, how's that footage? Did it actually turn out? And he's like, I kind of don't want to tell you guys, but I think I mixed up cards, and I think that card is erased.
Oh,
Like, oh, okay. Well,
oh
no harm done, because literally it was just, we were hanging out. We shot something for a couple hours. No big deal. We were still hanging out anyways. It's like, yeah, whatever. It didn't really do anything anyways. So whatever. Jump a couple years, COVID hits.
Yeah.
And we start, being allowed to hang out with 10 other people. So Phil and I were over there. We're doing the commentary for Necropolis, because Necropolis just happened. It was just released as soon as COVID hit. Like it was the biggest piss off. I think the most depressing thing in the world, because it was our time to shine. Be part of Full Moon. We could start doing the tables, get this movie out there. Rabid Dog Films. This is us. So that bullshit happened. So the movie gets released, and we did the commentary for it just before it was released. We did the commentary for it. So I was like, guys, why don't we fucking do something now that we're not allowed to really hang out, we're not allowed to, gather in clumps right now or whatever. Why don't we try to bring wolf juice back? Let's do something with that. I'm like, yeah, okay, why not? We're all kind of not doing anything right now anyways, because Phil's in the entertainment industry also. We're like stagehands, and we do all this other stuff. We're, contractors. So I was like, okay. We're allowed a few extra people. So let's call up a few of our friends. So we called up who you see in the movie. TJ, who is the army guy beside me. Pepper Klopek, who is the one looking for the donuts. We got Midge, who is Corey. She was from London, Ontario, who is good friends with Jake, who runs the London Comic-Con and Shock Stock convention in London, Ontario. Our friend Rob Gabriel, who's in Green Jelly, and he does the Trauma booths. And Calvin, who is now our script writer and stuff for Rabid Dog Films. He's the cop. So it was like, okay, let's put the call out on the message board on Facebook. Hey guys, we want to do this wolf juice thing. Are you guys busy? This Tuesday, we're getting together. We got this little idea. I'm this creature. Not sure how I turn into this creature, but
I was
we
going to
want
say on IMDb, you're credited as Wolf Thingamabob.
Wolf Thingamabob. Yes. That came afterwards. Yes. So they're like, okay, perfect. Let's do it. We're all bored anyways. So we all get together, a bunch of us there. And I'm like, okay, so let's get together at like 2 p.m. And let's start hashing out this idea. We want to shoot this. Okay, so what do we got? We got this effects shop full of stuff. Okay, so we got a cop uniform. Okay, let's use a cop uniform. Calvin, get in the cop uniform. Rob, okay, you get in a cop uniform also. But you're going to be like a stoner cop, and Calvin's going to have a hard time getting a hold of you, but something's going on in the background. We're not sure. Pepper, let's put these overalls and this wig on you. Corey, you're going to be a crackhead, and actually there's like a dead baby here. Let's hold the dead baby. Let's figure that out. So then literally we all just came up with these ideas and these characters and the dialogue and everything. We're just like, okay, let's do this. Let's do that. Well, how about if we do this and we film that, and then we do that and do that? It's like, okay, cool. So we literally spent like it was a 12-hour night of shooting as much as we could. And hilariously, on the first night, at about 2 in the morning, a giant breaker, or one of those few, like the breaker boxes out on the street, blew. So literally blocks and blocks just went dark. But thank
Wow.
God for technology, we have, battery powered lights.
Right.
So we just kept filming and kept filming and kept filming. So, 5, 6 in the morning come around. We're all exhausted. Okay, that's it. I think we're good. So Phil's like, okay, let me take the footage. Let me check it out, see what we can do. So he takes it home. A couple days later, he literally sends it to all of us. And he's like, this is kind of what we have and what I could work with. We're all like, holy shit. Like, just out of what we did there that night, this is it. We have to get together and do more. Okay, how's next Tuesday? All right, let's do it. Next Tuesday comes around. Boom, we do it again. What do we do this time? So how's it connected to that? What do we do here? What's this? What's that? What are you going to say? Where are you going to run? Okay, 12 hours later, I think we got it. He goes home, edits the both together, shows us a little thing. He's like, we need to shoot more. I'm like, okay, we're still bored anyways. It's only a week later. Next Tuesday, let's do it. Same thing. So we get together and film another 12, 13 hours. And that was pretty much it. That's how it went.
Wow.
Literally, the whole thing was improv, front to back.
Amazing. So, what's the reception been to this? Because you've put it out to a couple festivals, right?
We have so Shock Stock is kind of like the grindhouse sleazy convention that friends of ours put together. And he brings out the underground talent and stuff. Like this year, Ed Neal from the Hitchhiker from Texas is going to be there. Christy Canyons is going to be there, the old porn star.
Yeah.
And like it's that kind of crowd, right? So we're like, perfect. You guys are all our best buds. This is the kind of crowd that we're all hanging out with anyways. Let's show it here. Is it okay, Jake? Oh, absolutely. We love it. This is hilarious. People are going to fucking die. And I was like, okay, perfect. Because my motto always is with movies nowadays is we've all seen it. We've all, we've been through a lot of experiences in movies, but it's never enough experience with the crowd itself, with the movie. Right. So how can we do that? I'm always a huge fan of 3D. I love 3D all the time. Doesn't matter whether it's the good 3D or the anaglyph, red and blue 3D. I'm like, we got to put some stupid 3D stuff in there. So we got the skull in there. That's 3D. Yep. We got some other parts that's in there too. So when we show the movie, we hand out the 3D glasses. So everybody has to be a part of this. And literally for 25 minutes, I don't think the place shut up once. It was, they were awesome. Laughing so goddamn hard. I mean, obviously it helped everybody was liquored up like beyond control. So it was even better because that's what we want anyways. So after that, we were just like, wow, okay, well then maybe we do have something on our hands. This is pretty fun. And from then on, Phil and I, we work in the movie industry too. So there's a couple companies that call us to do, gripping and lighting and whatever like that. So we spent the last few months up until beginning of December working on a couple movies. The last one was with Jim Belushi and Ken Shamrock. And so then now I'm like, after Christmas, we are going hard on Wolf Juice. So we're putting it out there. So right now it's going to be showing at Niagara Arts Center. It's a couple guys that put together these movie nights. We're doing it there in a couple weeks. I submitted it to Hamilton Film Festival, Buffalo Film Festival. There's going to be another one in Oshawa. So we just want to get it out there and we want people to experience it. It's a movie you need to see live. That was the one thing that we've always wanted to do is like, this movie's fun at home. Sure, it's a blast. But when you're with, 100 people, 200 people that, have had a few beers, a few doobies in them, and you're ready to watch this nonsense on film with your friends, just be prepared. Like, you are not going to know what's going to happen, but you're going to have the best time ever.
Ken Shamrock, are you a wrestling fan?
Yes. I'm more of I was a huge wrestling fan up until the mid 90s. And then I kind of phased off just because, skateboarding girls, all this other stuff too. It just kind of started kicking in. And then I jumped into UFC right away. Like I started watching UFC, the first one with my buddies. And I was a huge UFC fan back in the day. I still am. I still try to keep up. I mean, it's a little hard too because there's just so much of it now. But, watching Ken Shamrock and Hoist Gracie back in the day was monumental. It was crazy. So to see him actually shake his hand and just, hey, man, it's a pleasure. And, I'm an honor and I'm not going to take your time and whatever. But Yeah, he almost chopped my head off a couple times with the sword in this movie. So I'll say that was a very awesome experience to have to hide myself from him swinging a huge sword over my head a couple times for a shot. Like, yeah, Ken Shamrock almost killed me a couple times. Woo!
Reason I also mentioned is that I keep thinking this entire episode we're talking to Chris Jericho. I don't know if you know of Chris Jericho, but you sound quite a bit like him. Wow,
that's awesome then. Thank you. Yeah, I just watched him on he just did he's on AEW now. So he just did that last match. I forget what that other guy, and he lost, and that was quite upsetting. I didn't like that other guy. I thought he sucked. Anyways.
Awesome. So
Wolf Juice is an experience.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, just kind of wrap things up here. Where can people find more information about you, about Rabid Dog Films, and especially about where Wolf Juice is going to be screening next?
So if you go on our Facebook, so facebook.com/RabidDogFilms, the first pinned post on there is our link tree, and that shows our YouTube and a bunch of other stuff that we've done and been involved with. So if you go on the trailer, the Wolf Juice trailer, I'm going to keep that updated the most, obviously on the Facebook too. But if you go on the trailer on the YouTube, I'm going to start putting exactly where it's going to be in the next couple months, where it's going to be playing if anybody is in the Southern Ontario area or Buffalo area. Hopefully it gets out more too.
You should bring it down here to the Pittsburgh area. I mean, we got some indie theaters. John, you know an indie theater, right?
Yeah. I may be awares of one, but I think,
then that would be awesome. I'd love to hook this up for sure.
John might actually be employed by one, so that's why I bring that up. He might be employed by a certain indie theater that doesn't shy away from things like this, do they?
No, not one bit.
No, not one.
Well, that's
bit.
Fantastic. Oh, that'd be awesome then, man. We'd be honored.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Cam, it has been an absolute pleasure, talking with you.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I have been friends on Facebook for a while. I don't think, but I as I told you before the show started, like, I wasn't sure how we connected, but I'm glad that you put that post up asking for people to talk about your movie, because this has been literally a great time.
Sweet.
Bullshitting about zombies, cannibals, and Wolf Juice. We'll be sure to link to your Facebook as well as Instagram, just so people can learn more about you, as well as find out when Wolf Juice is going to be playing in the show notes of this episode. So definitely check it out. I checked out future
projects.
Yeah, I checked out the trailer when you sent over to me. It is crazy. It's a crazy film.
And now that you have the full link, now that I sent you the private link to watch it.
Yeah. Now I'm going to watch it, because like trailer, I was like, all right, this is my kind of movie.
Do you have 3D glasses?
Crazy. I think I do. I think I do have a pair of 3D glasses. So yeah, I think I have them with my Nightmare on Elm Street box set.
Please do. Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. But but anyway, with that said, John, where can they find you at on the internets?
All the usual ones you find for 30-some-year-olds, Twitter, Instagram, the Book of Face, and obviously do follow my YouTube channel, JDubs Video Nasties. I'm hoping by early next week to have my Mrs. Doubtfire video out.
Nice. Yeah, Cam, you got to check out his YouTube channel, because it's fucking hilarious.
Send me some links.
You'll have to send him some links, John.
Will do.
Yeah. You can find me at Brian Coddington. I also run the Psycho Show page. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Psycho Show. You can find us on TikTok. We are on the TikToks at Cinema Psycho Show. And another new thing that I'm trying out this time around, okay, in 2023, is to do more audience engagement. So we just launched literally yesterday. No, not Grindr.
Oh, my bad.
We just launched yesterday a Discord channel just for this podcast, where you can talk about the episodes that we're releasing. Give us some movie suggestions. Bullshit about the Oscars, because I put that as a channel because I hate the fucking Oscars, and I know that John loves them, and I figure that might be a safe place for us to argue about who's going to win in a pageantry fucking festival. But anyway,
Wow.
I'm going to put the invite for that Discord channel in the show notes. So if you're interested in joining our Discord channel and bullshitting about movies with us, you can join that. But you can also, if you want to do the old-fashioned way and not what the kids are doing, email us at cinemapsychoshow.com. With that said, be sure to follow us wherever you get your audio, and we will see you next time.